So I'm a little late on this one, a little later than I wanted to be anyway, but I'm hyped about this fight this weekend, so I got to get in a prediction for Canelo versus Saunders. Now, you're not going to hear anything too out of the ordinary from me right now. My prediction probably isn't very far off from everybody else's. Um, in short, I think Canelo is going to win. I think Canelo is going to stop him. Um, I think Billy Joe Saunders is very capable of winning this fight, and I think that Canelo is beatable. As great as Canelo is, I think Canelo is an all-time great, but I also think Canelo is beatable. Um, Canelo is showing a little problems with southpaws, a little problems with slick boxers. Billy Joe is a slick southpaw. So it could pose some problems. I bet on Billy Joe because he's like 5-1. And I like to take the underdogs and basically if I think the guy has a much better shot than what the odds are saying, I'm probably gonna take it. And I think at 5-1, I think Billy Joe's got a decent shot. He got a little bit bigger of a ring that he wanted or whatever he wanted. I think it was a 22-foot ring, and he got the 22-foot ring. And I don't think that 2 feet is gonna, make the difference in the fight or whatever, but it'll help him if he uses it correctly, I guess. But listen, if Billy Joe is gonna win, he's probably going to have to be pretty dominant. Now, I'm not one of these guys that gets into like these conspiracies and shit. And I'm not saying that nobody is ever, paid off or anything like that. But people just call it on every fight, and I'm just not one of those people. So I don't think that the judges are necessarily paid off. I don't think that Billy Joe is going to go out there and beat Canelo up, and they're going to give it to Canelo anyway. But I do think that just because, you have to understand that the aura that comes with Canelo, it's the same thing with Mayweather. When you see Mayweather, standing in the pocket and nobody could hit him, it kind of gives you this aura about him, and then he gets, the benefit of the doubt in these rounds because of, how clean he's landing shots and how many he evaded and how good his defense is and things like that. So Canelo comes with this kind of aura where it's like, he's so good and he's been so dominant that you're going to probably have to fuck him up for somebody to turn around and give the fight at the end of the day and say, hey, you know what? That was it right there. Canelo lost that one. So I just don't think that a 7-5, close fight, not saying Saunders can't get it, but I think that he's got to go out there and just outbox the shit out of Canelo for 10 rounds. And in order to do that, he's going to have to come in good shape, because he's going to have to move a lot, and he's going to... The thing with good shape, too, that a lot of people that never fought or whatever don't understand is that you can't think the same when you get tired either, and you can't react the same. So it's not just as simple as, dig deep and gut it out. Yeah, you're tired, but he's tired too. Get through it. That is in there for sure. But it's more than that, because you get mentally fatigued, and you make that one little mistake, and he catches you, and it's a wrap. So Canelo has been, he's shown that he can carry his power to the late rounds. I do think that Canelo has a little bit of stamina issues, and the reason that I say that is because of, Canelo's work rate. So he's very efficient, and the thing with Mayweather was very efficient too, but Mayweather looked exactly the same in the 12th as he did in the first. So when you seen Mayweather being efficient, then the 12th round came and you said, okay, this is why he was doing this. Canelo, while he carries his power late, I do think that his work rate slows down a little bit late. Maybe not in every single round, but he'll take a round or two off or whatever here and there. And I think that it's going to be one of those things where Billy Joe is going to have to take advantage of shit like that and really have to step on the gas pedal, maybe late, maybe win some late rounds to, seal the deal or whatever. But I think that I'm gonna just go off of my opinion here. I'm gonna just give you my gut feeling just based off of, not really studying anything, because I'm not too informed on Saunders. I've watched a handful of his fights, and I definitely have seen the guy fight, and I know a fair amount about him, but not... I'm a big boxing fan, so having only seen 4 or 5 of somebody's fights, to me, mean I don't really know that much about them. I'm the type of person, I'll watch every single one of people's fights. So I'm like that. So I don't know as much about Saunders as I do about some other people, particularly Canelo. Not that I've seen every single one of Canelo's fights, but I've seen a lot more Canelo's fights than Saunders fights. But my gut feeling, just as a fight fan going into this fight, is I think Billy Joe is going to have success early. I think he's going to look good early. I think he's going to come out quick. I think he'll look great in the first round. He might look good in the first couple of rounds. I think that Canelo is going to land some body shots early that are not necessarily going to win him the rounds, but they're going to just make a little bit of a statement. And then I think it's going to come to an abrupt end at some point. Anytime after, like, the third round, I'll say. And I'm not saying it's going to happen early. I'm not saying 4. It could be 10. I wouldn't be surprised at all if it was 10. I won't really be surprised if it goes the distance either, but I'm just giving you my gut feeling is I think that Billy Joe is going to come out and look really good early and do well early. I think Canelo is going to land a couple of noteworthy shots that don't really win him the rounds, but they're noteworthy shots. And then I think he's going to put Billy Joe Saunders out. Now, taking my gut feeling away and going based off of what I've seen from these guys and things like that going into the fight, honestly, I think it'll probably be a decision win for Canelo. Like, that's when I analyze everything, when I've looked at what I've studied from Billy Joe and I looked at what I know about Canelo and where they're at in their careers right now, I probably think that Canelo will win a decision. For some reason, I have some sort of weird, eerie, like, gut feeling inside that something about Billy Joe is going to disappoint people. I don't know if they're going to say that he pulled one of those scenarios where he stayed alive and he made it to the end of the fight, but he wasn't really trying to win the fight, or that he wasn't in the best shape he could have been in, or he had it and he gave it up. Or I just have some sort of gut feeling that like Billy Joe Saunders fans are going to be disappointed by him in this fight. And that's not based off of anything. That's just back to my gut feeling. But my final prediction is I'm predicting Canelo takes it via decision. Like I said, I bet on Billy Joe Saunders to win at 5-1. You can almost take that to the bank that Billy Joe Saunders is not going to win just based off the fact that I bet on him, but we shall see what happens. Peace out from those formsies.